Entire Tiffany Hayes, Caitlin Clark situation is kind of getting out of hand. Look, at the end of the day, I think the outcome of this whole situation needs to minimum be the WNBA putting a rule out there so that players need to at least be careful on social media.
Let's take a closer look at what happened and, just as importantly, what didn't. A professional athlete publicly liked social media posts that joked about physically attacking another player in the league. And how did the WNBA respond? There was no reported fine, no official statement, and no public indication the matter was addressed behind closed doors. Just silence. That lack of response has become part of the story itself. Today, we're examining why critics believe that silence matters and whether the way the media has covered the situation may actually be adding even more fuel to the controversy.
Saying that's real. That being said, when you're going around talking about how it was a curse that you didn't basically punch Caitlin, or that she didn't fully crash out, and again, one step above what actually happened is a one step above past that is a brawl. So at the end of the day, that's what she was saying. It was a curse that she didn't wasn't able.
Here's how the situation unfolded. During the Indiana versus Golden State game, Tiffany Hayes and Caitlin Clark exchanged words in a heated on-court moment. Competitive confrontations like that happen in basketball all the time, but the discussion continued after the final whistle. On Threads, Hayes reportedly interacted with several posts about Clark, including liking comments that many felt crossed the line. Some referenced violent reactions toward Clark, while others implied she deserved even harsher treatment. By engaging with those posts, Hayes was viewed by critics as publicly endorsing that tone. The key issue wasn't that it happened privately. It happened on a public platform where anyone could see it. And that's why the debate has grown, especially since Clark's actions during the game did not appear to justify the extreme reactions being shared online.
Caitlin Clark did nothing. Did absolutely nothing except for shit talk her opponent, and people on Threads were joking or not threatening her or saying that Tiffany Hayes should have punched her. And again, joke or not, the likelihood is, yeah, joking, obviously not being serious. But Tiffany Hayes liking all those comments and replying back in a positive way, joke or not, is still dangerous.
Caitlin Clark chose not to respond publicly. There were no tweets, no indirect social media posts, no podcast comments, and no online back and forth. Her only involvement was the trash talk that took place during a live basketball game, something long accepted as part of high-level competition. Hayes, however, took the discussion beyond the court by engaging with public social media posts that thousands of people could view. The conversation quickly shifted away from basketball itself. It was no longer about shooting, defense, or turnovers. Instead, attention centered on comments involving violence. Critics argue that this is where the situation crossed an important line, and they believe the WNBA has yet to properly address that concern.
A tennis player, I know it's been 30 years, but a tennis player literally almost died because a crazed fan of another player was pissed off that a crazed fan of Steffi Graf was pissed off that Monica Seles was the greatest prospect ever and was going to overtake Steffi Graf probably as the best player in the world as a teenager. So the fan showed up and stabbed her. All it takes is one crazy. All it takes is one crazy person.
This isn't just another sports controversy. History shows why these conversations matter. On April 30th, 1993, in Hamburg, Germany, then 19-year-old world number 1 Monica Seles was stabbed in the back during a changeover by a man carrying a 9-inch knife. His motive was an obsession with Steffi Graf and the belief that Seles stood in her way. Graf had absolutely no involvement, and Seles had done nothing to provoke the attack. The incident permanently changed her career, and she never fully regained the dominance she once had. The broader point raised by critics is that when public figures engage with or appear to normalize violent rhetoric toward athletes, even indirectly, it can contribute to a dangerous atmosphere. They argue that silence from leagues in those moments sends the wrong message, especially when the athlete involved is constantly in the spotlight. Obsession doesn't always require encouragement. Sometimes it only needs reinforcement.
Liking the comments and publicly liking them as well as on threads. Like, they kick her out of the league. And I mean it. You know what? Like, a long suspension would be justified. And anytime you say, if Caitlin Clark did this, would there be a suspension? If the answer is yes, then it should be a suspension the other way. Just because, something ends up happening that, just because realistically, something ends up happening to Caitlin.
Consider a simple hypothetical. Reverse the names. If Caitlin Clark had gone onto threads after a game and liked posts suggesting Tiffany Hayes should be physically harmed, many believe the reaction would have been immediate. An official statement could have followed within days, disciplinary action might have been discussed, and major sports outlets would likely have devoted significant coverage to the controversy. Sponsors may have reviewed partnerships, while commentators debated possible suspensions and public apologies. The sports media cycle would have moved quickly. But supporters of this viewpoint argue that isn't what happened because the roles were different. They believe the standard of response changes depending on who is involved, and that the difference is visible in how similar situations are handled.
No. Who the fuck was messaging me? I have been threatened. I've been threatened. My life has been threatened if I went to Winthrust by an Angel Reese fan. That has happened. Again, do I know if it's serious or not? No. Is it serious or not? Is it probably not serious? No. Like, it's probably not serious. Nothing would. There's a 99% chance nothing would happen. That being said, I have received messages saying that if I went to Winthrust from somebody who their entire Twitter was about Angel Reese, that I wouldn't make it out alive. Is anything going to happen?
For many people, this discussion is no longer just theoretical. It involves real athletes and real-world consequences. A simple action on social media may seem insignificant, but it can be interpreted as a message by those who see it. In Caitlin Clark's case, there have already been documented security concerns, including a man who later pleaded guilty to targeting her, making the issue more than a hypothetical scenario. Critics argue that even indirect interaction with posts promoting violence can be viewed as approval by unstable individuals. They also point out that Clark has often faced intense criticism for relatively minor actions, while comparable or more serious incidents involving others have received less attention. The central issue, they argue, is consistency in how leagues and the media respond. Some believe the WNBA should establish clear standards and consequences for online conduct involving violent rhetoric, noting that other professional sports have adopted stronger policies after similar incidents. Ultimately, the debate centers on fairness, player safety, and accountability across the league.